Good evening, good evening, good evening. Kiss up to God. To God be the glory for all the wonderful works that He does. Thank you, God, for a new do over. Thank you, God, for another day to get it right, for another chance to be in the land of the living, for that brand new grace and brand new mercy that you allow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for life, health, and strength, family, and friends. And Lord, if we had the opportunity to say I'm sorry, allow that opportunity because I'm sorry can restore and recover a whole lot of things. Today, I'm coming on with three types of faith. And I got this from last night from Bible study from Pastor Flood, who is the preacher in my hometown in North Carolina. And he was on Bible study last night. And I found it very, very interesting and very helpful to sit back and to listen to him. So I started writing down some notes so I could share with my YouTube audience. And so I consider it an honor. Thank you, Pastor Flood. I appreciate this. And the three types of faith. He went into in depth, so I skim. So like I say, I'll go skim a little bit. It's up to you to finish finding out everything else. Okay. So three types of faith. We have the ineffective faith. The ineffective faith, you know, make sure that we don't try to help God out. The ineffective faith, this faith leads to other things. It's a process we have to go through, but we cannot interfere with God's plans. The time is the greatest enemy of ineffective faith because we want everything to be right there, right there. We usually panic and we complain. Why isn't it done yet? What's taking so long? Why don't I have this, God? Because of lack of trust in God. We respond with fear. We start using negative words, and words have power over us. We speak the power over our life when we speak certain words. Faith is proved by the way we live. Especially if we unchanged, because unchanged in life, if we haven't changed anything, some things are not going to work for us because see, God's word never changes, but we do. We need to call out. I mean, we call ourselves Christians, but we won't do the work. We won't do things that we want to do. We want God to do everything. And as we say, we go ahead of him and we try to help him. He doesn't need our help. Then you have the weak faith. The weak faith is better than no faith at all, or the ineffective faith. It's lack of endurance. You never try to test God, and we do. I know I've have. Lord, if you do this, I'll do that. If you can just make sure this is done, I'll make sure that is done. And half the time we're not gonna do what we say we're gonna do, but we do test him. We need to focus on God. We need to hold on this in spite of what's going on around us. And right now we really are dealing with a lot of things that's going on around us. And you know what I'm talking about. In spite of it, we need to focus on God. It is part of the process. You can actually build on weak faith. We could build it into a stronger faith. Sometimes we just need that time to build up, to have a stronger faith. When we haven't gone through anything, that's the good part. That's when we're new. When you go through stuff, that's when you realize, or that's when you start testing your faith. That's when you start doing your faith. And when he said this made me laugh. He said sometimes the enemy could be our friend because the enemy keeps us on our knees. Because when he said the enemy could be our friend, that's our friend. But the enemy will keep you praying. And that's what God needs you to do. He needs you to be on your knees and he needs you to pray. God is able. He needs you to keep the hope, keep the faith. God word and God help, because it will help build stronger faith. Faith is a gift from God. It is a gift of the Spirit. Take self inventory and see if you have any more gifts. Because so you have to, do have gifts of the Spirit. And the third faith is effective faith. Effective faith, you completely depend on God and you're willing to do his will. Whatever we go through is a learning experience. So we can't do a lot of complaining. We need to stop overthinking, because that's the trick of the devil. Don't allow all of that to stay in your mind, because it tries to get you off your game. When you have effective faith, number one, it grows under pressure. It's not a punishment, it's a process. Number two, you're stronger through endurance, because you need to start worrying, because worrying brings on stress, high blood pressure. Worrying, stress can kill. You're worrying yourself to death about something you can't change instead of allowing God to do it. Number three is hopeful anticipation, because you know God is real and you know that He is going to do what He has to do. Then number four, quiet assurance. God is sure and God is certain. And that's something you should know. That's something you should be sure of. God knows what's best for us, even when we don't approve. The beginning is we always believe in God's character. The end is we always believe in God's promises. And that was so good. Like I say, he did more of an in-depth study on it. And it makes sense, because right now we need to really ground ourselves in the word and really have faith to know that God is not going to let some things that are happening. He's not pleased, and He's not going to allow some of these things to come to fruition. He's not, because He's that good. God is also their God. He's God to all of us. So some things that are going on, some things are allowed, because I think I've stated before, when God tries to get our attention and we won't give it to Him, He's going to get it another way. And right now, He's trying to get our attention and let us understand and allow us to understand that we're going to have to really depend on knowing God, knowing who He is, and knowing that God got us. God got us. We have to start worrying and panicking and stressing on stuff that only God can handle. He's the only one that can handle this. We can't handle this on our own. We can't deal with this on our own. If we don't allow God to do what God does best, we're going to check out of here, being stressed out and worried to death. Do you think He brought us this far to leave us? Do you think He allowed this certain things to go on because He don't know, because He doesn't already have a plan? Everything that happened is in God's plans. We don't want to think it is, but believe me, it is. And I admit, I'm sitting up here like, I think I have that weak faith right about that, because I'm like, come on, what in the world? Why is this happening, God? It makes you like have your doubts, and it's okay to doubt a little, but get off it. Because every time I start doubting, every time I get myself all worked up and stressed out and stuff, I got to remind myself who I am and who God is in my life, in our life. He's not going to allow things to happen, because He has a plan for everything. Just wait and see. Just wait. Just sit back and marinate on His goodness. Marinate on His promises. Marinate on who He is. And I'm telling you, He's going to see us through all of this stuff. So I came over because I wanted to share that with you, because I thought that was very interesting. If you think anybody needs to hear this, please share. And I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel, because there's so much going on there. Come over to this channel so you can smile a little bit and stop stressing out. I'm not going to stress you out. I'm just talking facts or talking crazy sometimes, but it's all good. But thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed night. Now you hear? God bless.